So I was thinking yesterday during our show, the news broke that the Philadelphia Eagles had fired Doug Pederson. And one of the things I love about the NFL, and you really don't see this in any other league, you can be awful, but you're not awful for wrong if you get a quarterback or a coach. In baseball, you can get tied to awful contracts. In the NBA, you can't find a star. You're saddled with bad contracts. But in the NFL, you can cut guys. You don't have to be bad more than maybe a year. You can get out of it. Right coach, right coordinator. Look how fast Miami, the Dolphins were awful to interesting to really, really good. One of the top defenses in the NFL. And I'm thinking this yesterday during the show, Philadelphia fires their coach, and I'm thinking, oh, it's a great job. And then I'm driving home, and I'm thinking, wait, Doug Pederson won a Super Bowl, and they fired him. And Andy Reid got to a Super Bowl and 5 NFC championships. And after one bad year, they fired him. And Chip Kelly had a winning record, and they fired him. I'm not sure this is a great job. Expectations make the job. Tom Coughlin was allowed to have like 3-4 bad years in a row. They retained him. Doug Pederson beat Belichick in an all-time Super Bowl. And the more I thought about it, I thought, they've got a lot of cap space issues. They are sort of an old roster. The general manager has a lot of power in the owner's ear. And, oh, by the way, you're stepping into a quarterback mess. Most coaches want personnel say. You'll get none. Most quarterbacks want a defined quarterback room. They're the opposite. I don't know. The NFL changes so quickly. If Urban Meyer landed the Jacksonville job today, with Trevor Lawrence coming, that looks like a pretty decent job. We never thought the Chargers was a great job, and then they drafted Justin Herbert. And now I think it's the best job going away. But I would have thought at the beginning of this year, if you'd have told me Philadelphia, I'd be like, well, you got Carson Wentz, you got great owner, competent general manager. Doug Pederson won a Super Bowl. And this morning I'm like, wait a minute. The owner is saying he didn't deserve to be fired. Then why'd you fire him? 3 coaches, the last 3 coaches fired there, all had winning records. 2 got to Super Bowls. 1 won it. All of them, after one bad year, out. Tough talking, tough acting New York gave Coughlin bad year after bad year after bad year after bad year. I don't know. This league changes dramatically. I'm not sure this is a great job. Eric Bieniemy, Brian Daboll, let some young coach who doesn't want any personnel say have this gig. You'll have better options. Congrats to Alabama, won a national championship. We do this a lot of times. I remember getting almost into a fight 20 years ago. I was at Senior Froggies or something in Tampa. I was a sportscaster there. And some, mouth breather came up to me and said, Danny Werfel should be drafted number 1. He's unbelievable. And I said, Danny Werfel is a bad athlete with a noodle arm. Well, he dominates in college. And I said, it's in college. It's Steve Spurrier. Doesn't mean anything. A lot of guys dominate in college. And he was just adamant. And I'm like, it doesn't matter if you're throwing to wide open wide receivers that Steve Spurrier's got 4 wide. Nobody could cover him at the time. Doesn't make a good NFL prospect. And I watched Mac Jones last night for Alabama. And my take is, how the hell do you evaluate him? He never plays from behind. Ever. He never gets hurried. Forget hit. He's always got a great running game. And his wide receivers are wide open. He's not a sensational athlete. In fact, he's below average. He was a 3-star recruit. His arm is fine, not special. His size is okay. The best thing he has going for him, he's going to drop to about 15th. So he may end up with a San Francisco or a New England situation. But even New England, they have no weapons. He's not dynamic enough to make something out of nothing. He is the classic example where Mac Jones lands will absolutely determine his fate. He needs a clever coach. He needs protection. Essentially, what he has at Alabama is the opposite of the NFL reality. He never trails. His receivers are always open. He's almost never hurried. And he has a great running game. God, Joe Burrow would just like one of those. Forget not having the right coach. He's got the best coach ever in college football. When you look around the NFL landscape, what I'm about to say is not a coincidence. Patrick Mahomes did not go to a college football power. Josh Allen did not go to a college football power. Lamar Jackson did not go to a college football power. Either did Big Ben or Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees or Matt Ryan. No, they were always trailing, often getting hit, having to squeeze the ball into tight, tiny windows. Even Justin Herbert had a good program. Oregon's absolutely a top 12 program, but he didn't have NFL wide receivers to throw to. He had a very conservative coach, and that's why everybody out of college said Justin Herbert, he's very rigid, he's very mechanical. Yeah, he's a great athlete. Justin Herbert's a great athlete, and you said he was mechanical. Mac Jones is a below-average athlete, and everybody this morning goes, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Justin Herbert's bigger, stronger, better arm, more mobile, and we cut him up out of college because he came out of a program where nobody was wide open, and he often played trailing, and he didn't have an unbelievable run game, and he didn't have the best coach in the history of college football. I would take Justin Fields every day and twice on Sundays over Mac Jones, and he didn't play particularly well. But if you start looking around the NFL, there is a reason there are not a lot of great Alabama quarterbacks in the NFL, not a lot of great Ohio State quarterbacks in the NFL. There's not a lot of great college football power quarterbacks in the NFL because the college reality for a lot of these guys like Mac Jones is leads, running game, wide open, best coach. You think you're going to get that drafted in the top 12 in the NFL? I don't even know who's going to be coaching Detroit next year. So I wish the kid the very best, but I don't know how you evaluate him. I really don't. He'll be the classic example. He'll be as good as the coach, the owner, and the offensive line and skill people that he inherits. Because I'm watching this last night. Look at this. I mean, come on now. Linebackers on Devontae Smith? That's not the way it works in the NFL. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.